Welcome to Creative Caregiving and Beyond. More and more people are having to become caregivers for their elderly loved ones, and navigating this journey can be really difficult. This podcast will provide guidance and give practical tips for your family. Your host is Wendy Whiteman, elder law attorney, author, speaker, and leading insight advisor in senior protocol and senior lifestyle trends. Know that you are not alone in getting the help that you need. Let's get started. And here's Wendy.
Welcome to another episode of Creative Caregiving and Beyond. Today we have a special guest, Nathan Loftis, who's the founder and owner of Go Giver Residential Care Homes. Nathan, welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad that you have me here. And I look at we matching.
We are matching today.
You know what I mean? I promise it wasn't planned. I promise. We just somehow spiritually connected in some kind of weird way.
Well, it's a sunshiny day. We brought the sun in, so that's good. Keeping it bright.
Already.
Keeping it bright. So, Nathan, what inspired you to start a residential group home?
Well, you know what? That's something that I want to kind of clarify too.
Okay.
The difference between group homes and care homes, but we'll get to that later. Okay. It's more than just one thing. It's a plethora of things that served as the catalyst to me doing what I'm currently doing now. Okay. If you go back to my childhood, my grandfather, Alex McAfee Sr., his wife, which is my grandmother, she had rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
And so I never remember seeing my grandmother walk. Her joints was like this. If you know anything about arthritis, arthritis is one of the worst and dilapidating arthritises that one can possess and have. And so I never remember seeing her walk. Her mother, my great-grandmother, had Alzheimer's. Okay. So my grandfather and my grandmother, who had rheumatoid arthritis, stayed with each other in San Antonio. My great-grandmother, who had Alzheimer's, stayed in a little small town in Central Texas called Rockdale. You ever heard of that?
I have not heard of Rockdale.
Yeah, it's Rockdale. It's by Temple and all that, like kind of close to Austin. Yes. Well, when her Alzheimer's got to the point to where she could no longer take care of herself, my grandfather, being the stand-up guy that he was and is, he uprooted his wife, my grandmother, relocated them from San Antonio, Texas to Rockdale, Texas, where my great-grandmother, who had Alzheimer's, was at. He took care of both of those women until their dying day. And so I just remember him, cleaning them, asking us to step out the room so he could bathe them, feeding them, all by himself, one deep. Now, we live in a time in 2025, you find out your spouse got Alzheimer's or rheumatoid arthritis, people chunking the deuce and they out the door. Nah, this man right here, he really exuded what that L word love really meant. Yes. And I remember that growing up. And so that's one of the things that kind of got me into doing what I'm doing now. And we try to exude that same love towards the residents in which we serve, the seniors in which we serve who can no longer take care of themselves. That same love that my grandfather exuded towards my grandmother and my great-grandmother. That's one of the reasons I got into what I'm doing now. The second reason into why I got what I'm doing now, I have a good friend of mine by the name of Edward Lee Jeffrey. Shout out to God House of Compassion down there in Houston, Texas. He has been doing this for over 10 years plus. Okay. And so he's part of I really wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if it wasn't for Mr. Jeffries. So that's the second reason I kind of got into this. I always had a big heart, and this is just one of the ways that I could do something that I was always passionate about and just made my heart smile. The third reason why I got into this healthcare industry, what I'm doing now, believe it or not, prior to me being in the healthcare industry, Wendy, I was actually a truck driver in the oil field. You believe that?
Really?
Yes. And so one day, I'll never forget the day, it was April 14, 2020. This is the year that COVID was hitting everybody real hard.
That's true.
Girl, miss COVID, you hear me? Didn't miss that 18-wheeler truck that T-boned the passenger side of my trailer as I was making a left in the Lower Texas, going to do my first load for the day. So I came to a stop sign. It was a 4-way intersection. They had the blinking red lights, I stopped like I should. I was making the left going going northbound, about to do my first load for the day. It had to be like 6 something, almost 7 a.m. in the morning. And as I was making the left, I noticed this truck coming forward. And I was like, oh my God, he's coming kind of fast. And I was like, man, he's not gonna stop. So just out of instinct, not even thinking, I just switched the gears as fast as I could, got out the way as much as I possibly could. Thank God I did.
Yeah.
Because he ended up T-boning the passenger side of my trailer instead of my truck.
Okay.
Now, the speed limit on this particular highway was like 75 miles an hour. So if he would have T-boned the passenger side of my truck, I probably wouldn't be here today. And so as a result of that, I couldn't drive trucks anymore. I had to have 2 neck surgeries. I don't know if you can see that scar on my neck, my C4, my C5. They went in from, matter of fact, I had my surgery right up the street here in Richardson. But they went in through the front to get to the back. And then my back, my L4, my L5, and my S1. Now, they messed me up more on my surgery than the actual accident.
Really?
So much so, yes, ma'am, I couldn't walk for 6 months. And so I was at a particular hospital with I won't name. It was like a rehab hospital. I wasn't being taken care of in the manner I felt like I should. You know, hours would go by, I'm sitting in my feces, I'm pressing the button. You know, it takes a long time for somebody to come, you know, and I understand why now. We'll talk about that later as well. But during that period, I was like, people should not be treated like this.
Right, right.
And so that's one of my connections to the seniors in which I serve. I can identify with being totally independent one day and then going from being independent, being able to do everything for yourself like a normal person, to being totally dependent upon somebody else bathing you, changing you, you know, taking care of you the next minute. And so I just kind of wanted to be a light in a dark place, so to speak, to people who experience going from being independent to totally dependent. And I tell you the crazy thing, God really works in mysterious ways. I really got more into reading. I became an avid reader during this period of time. And I read a book by a guy by the name of Napoleon Hill. He read a book called, wrote a book called Outwitting the Devil.
Okay.
Right. He wrote several tomes, but this particular book was called Outwitting the Devil. In this particular tome, Wendy, he's talking about temptation and how to deal with it in our day-to-day lives.
Okay.
But it's one particular part of the book he talks about, because he's a Black author, he talks about how in the Black community and the Black culture, when somebody is ambitious, when somebody is driven, they ascribe the title to being a go-getter, right? And I was very familiar with that term. You know, she has her own hospice company. She's a go-getter, right? He has his own home health company. Because it takes a lot to get something off the ground, building it from scratch, right? But he goes on to say in his book, he says that it comes a point in time in every man or woman's life where you must make the transition from being a mere go-getter to a go-giver. It just resonated with me immediately. I never heard it. I heard of go-getter.
Exactly.
Never heard the term go-giver. It's actually a book called Go-Giver. But I'm pretty sure they got the concept from him, right? Because his book was out years and years before theirs was. And so if you know anything about the Dead Sea, the reason why the Dead Sea is in fact the Dead Sea is because that water has a way of coming in, Wendy, but that water has no way of going out. So in essence, we get to give. God blesses us in order to be a blessing to other people.
That's so true.
And so one of the signs and symbols, my mentor taught me that a sign or a symbol is something that points to a greater reality. Right. Shout out to Jason Kimball down there in Missouri City with Wisdom Nuggets and coaching and consulting. If you come to a stop sign, the stop sign is telling you that, hey, you need to stop, because if you don't, it's a possibility that you're liable to run into something or someone. So it's in your best interest to stop, but it's pointing to the greater reality that you need to stop because of these things. Well, we use the sign and the symbol of the dandelion, right? If you know anything about a dandelion, when you pluck it from the earth and you blow it,
That's
You don't
true.
know how
Just kinda
far those seeds are
disperse it.
going to travel and go, right?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
we do, in fact, live in a sphere of existence where everything works off of vibrations. Everything is connected. So whether I do something good or bad to you, Wendy, it doesn't just affect you. It affects your husband, your mother, your children, everything you connected to, right? Another fun fact about the dandelion people don't realize, acknowledge, and understand, it's actually a weed. Did you know that?
No.
It is a weed.
Huh.
And scientists have proven that this weed, it tends to grow in unfertile soil.
Okay.
But it's something about the way that dandelion grows in that unfertile soil over a period of time. It makes that unfertile soil fertile. And once it becomes fertile, it doesn't continue to grow anymore because it has in fact served its purpose. So needless to say, I'm trying to put a legacy in a business down now that long outlives my physical life and continues to keep blessing other people when I'm no longer physically alive and present. And that's just the short version of how I got into what I'm doing right now.
That's amazing.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
You're a miracle being here today.
Well, I mean, I am, because I mean, in a lot of ways, you know, I had a near-death experience. And I think that when you have a near-death experience, your perspective, you have a paradigm shift. Your perspective and how you see life is totally different because you start to realize how fragile life really is.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, man, it's a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted to do, I haven't done yet. You know what I mean? I'm you know, because we get into the monotony of things. We're creatures of habit. You know, I wake up like this, I go through this morning routine, I go the same way to work. You kind of get stuck. But when you have a near death experience like I did, it changes your perspective and your mentality on how you see life.
Yeah.
You know, your perspective is very, very essential to how you deal with things and how you deal with people. So when people say, I don't care about what people think about me, or that's kind of a lie, because if I see you as a certain type of individual, that's how I'm going to treat and deal with you.
That's true.
Even though that might be a warped reality and might not be the matter at all, based on my perspective of you, it determines and is contingent upon how I deal and how I treat you. So perspective, even though it might not be in alignment with reality, it can dictate your reality.
Right. That's true.
Right?
That is so true.
You know, I have a 7-year-old son. You know, he believes in ghosts and goblins. You can't tell him there's not no monsters in the closet. You see what I'm saying? So he comes knocking on our door because he knows he's comfort. You know, we're going to protect him from the ghosts and goblins, right?
Right. Exactly.
So it changed my perspective on life and how I see things. So now a lot of people say, I love your energy, but they don't know. This energy, they don't know what's behind it. It's a story behind the energy. The energy comes from, hey, I could have been out of here.
Right.
You know, if I show you the pictures, you would be like, how did you survive this? Look at his truck. Look at your truck. You know, it was a guy actually who was driving teams with, he was stuck in a truck and the truck was on fire, but we ended up putting out the fire before anything blew up or anything like that magnitude of like that happened. So thank God for that. But that's where that newfound, that rejuvenated energy comes from the fact that, hey man, I could have been gone during that moment, but I'm still here. So that means that the creator is not done with me. I got some things to do. And I was making good money driving trucks I didn't have a life, but I was making good money driving trucks in the oil field, you know? But that changed my perspective on things. And a lot of times it's called a critical juncture. A lot of times things can happen in your life that you deem bad. Right. But it's really good. I'm gonna say that again because I really need that to resonate with the people out there.
Go ahead. Say it
Sometimes things can happen in your life that you deem is bad, but it's really good. Take for instance, fertilizer, right? When you plant something, whether it's a corn seed, a watermelon seed, the only thing that it takes is for you to plant it into fertile soil, right? But agricultures and farmers, they use something called fertilizer to accelerate the growth of whatever it is that they have planted. Now, what is fertilizer? Fertilizer is manure. How does manure smell?
Not too good.
Not too good. It's not pleasant at all. It's a repelling smell, isn't it? Right? But it's needed to accelerate the growth and development of whatever seed it is that you have planted inside the earth.
That's so true.
And so it is with adversity and circumstances in life. They might not be things that we necessarily are pleasant. It might be things that feel good, but it's necessary not for the growth and development of the seed, but it's necessary for the growth and development of us and our character as individuals and human beings in this sphere in existence called life.
That's true.
You know, share a little game with you. I learned about a word called etymology. And etymology deals with the history of the origin of words, because sometimes the definite words and terms tends to change over time.
That's true.
Well, when you do the etymology on the word husband, it comes from the word husbandry. Husbandry means agriculture, a gardener, a wine dresser, or a farmer, right? So the husband, if you going back to husbandry, that's what he's supposed to do with his wife and his children. He's supposed to cultivate them. So a lot of times us as men, we don't come up, and I know I'm kind of getting off track, but a lot of times us as men, we don't have problems with planting the seed.
Right.
Yeah. We don't have a problem with that. But what we come up short is the cultivation process of the seed in which has been planted. Just a little game.
That is so enlightening. But you're absolutely right. And I love getting the perspective, you know, how you think, the person behind the company, because that allows people to know the type of company they're dealing with and who they're dealing with and your philosophy. And how does that translate into the everyday operation at the residential home? How do you translate that?
So before you build a house, in the Bible, it says, build your house on solid rock and not on sand, so that when the storms of life come, your house can be still standing. The first thing you do is you have to build it on a solid foundation. The foundation of any company is the owner or the group of owners who started it, who are the catalysts of it. Their job and sole responsibility is to hire individuals who can carry out whatever vision it is they have for their company.
That's true.
This is very essential. This is very important. That's why, you know, you have to be very, very picky, right? You have to be, I tell people all the time, you know what I'm saying? You know, if you go and apply for a job, right? Let's say you're an attorney, right? Let's say you need another attorney to help you do what you do on a day-to-day basis. You know, you're looking at applications. He or she is not the only one putting in their bid for that particular position. You're going to do what's best for business and go with whoever you feel like can fulfill the vision for your company. So you have to be picky. You have to be very, very discerning, right? So you have to have the same type of mentality when you choose who you're going to spend the rest of your life with. You have to have the same type of mentality when you choose the employees who you're going to, because they're representing you.
That's true.
So I have individuals who I've hired on my team. My employees, my staff are more like family than employees and staff. Of course, there is a boss-employee relationship there, but I make sure that they understand the vision of my company, and they share the same passion for serving the seniors as I do. Now, a lot of times people might fool you, but the beautiful thing about being in a position of ownership, hey, you can hire and you can
fire.
Yeah, you're not meeting the vision that I have. You're misrepresenting me.
Exactly.
So I need somebody who's gonna represent me and the vision that I have for my company, right? To the fullest extent. You know, when you're an employee, you have to tolerate things. When you're in a position of ownership, you know, you don't have to be so tolerable. And that's one of the beautiful things about being an entrepreneur.
So you're getting the right people on staff.
That's right. And I've been fooled, I've been duped, What's the word my brother Malcolm X said? I've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, ran them up.
Right.
But as soon as I come to the realization that has taken place, they have to go.
Yeah.
Because serving these seniors is not something that I take lightly.
Exactly.
Right.
And in this profession, more than, some other professions, it's so important. It could be the difference between life and death on how someone's treated.
It could.
And with the services. And so
it could.
Yeah. So what type of services do you offer at the
the services in which we offer, we take care of seniors. We specialize in seniors.
Okay.
We wouldn't take somebody who was 25 years old and autistic.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So let's break down some things here. A lot of times people will refer to us as group homes, right? And we don't take it as a slight because we know they're just not educated, right? And group homes are needed. I have a group called We Are One, and we meet up every other month, the last Friday of the month, and group homes are included. They are very needed in our society and day and time, but that's not what we do. So let me just educate you real quick.
Yeah, please.
Group homes, right? They take care of people who are independent.
Okay.
Right? They can pretty much take care of themselves. Right? They need a little light supervision, but with a group home, you're pretty much paying for room and board.
Okay. Is it typically younger? Would you say?
They can be younger, they can be middle aged, they can be older. But the whole thing about a group home, there are no caregivers.
Okay.
In a group home. A lot of times what a group home owner will do, they'll have an actual resident who is there, who has the most sense, the most snap, make that individual the house manager, and they're responsible for making sure everybody is doing their chores, making sure everybody is eating, making sure they're the eyes and ears when the group home owner is not present in there.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? You might pay anywhere from, $700, between $700 and $1,500 at a group home.
Okay.
And the reason why it's so cheap is because there are no caregivers to pay.
Gotcha.
That's not 24-hour care.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Residential care homes and residential assisted living is comprised of individuals taking care of seniors who cannot take care of themselves.
Okay.
People who might be on home health, people who might be on hospice, right? People who might have dementia, Alzheimer's, people who might be stage 4 cancer, people who might need just a plethora of things. But the thing is, they cannot be at home by themselves.
Right.
So social workers got what's called an unsafe discharge. They can't make nobody go anywhere, but when they realize that they cannot go home by themselves and they don't have anybody to take care of them, family or anything, they have to report that to the state as an unsafe discharge. They need to be somewhere where people can actually take care of them.
Yeah.
So this is where you have to have everything ADA compliant. This is where you have to have your doors have to be a certain width. So walkers and wheelchairs and stuff like that. This is where you have to implement the fire suppression system, the fire alarm system. Any event of an evacuation and a fire or something like that takes place and they can't get out, you have to have an evacuation plan. Like if a flood or something like that happens, where are they gonna go if it's not livable?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's more things to it, but we don't look down on group homes at all. We love them, we embrace them, but in the sphere of what I'm doing, we are not a group home. So the big difference is group homes are independent, people are independent, and what I do, the people are not independent, they are dependent. They need 24-hour care.
Okay.
Right? And that kind of leads me to the next thing, is that the thing that separates us from big communities, right? We're talking about 20, 50, because the most people that we can have at one time is 16, right?
Okay.
So when you start talking about nursing homes, when you start talking about assisted living and memory care, let's talk about some of the difference there. In a skilled nursing facility, what we call a SNF, the average person calls a nursing home. There are two parts of a nursing home: the people who are there for long term and the people who are there for short term for the 21 days of rehab that insurance will pay for.
Okay.
Now, depending on the diagnosis of what that individual has going on is going to determine whether they need to be somewhere where they're receiving care or they're safe to go back home. This is up to the social worker, right? In a nursing home or a skilled nursing facility, on average, the resident to staff ratio is 16-1. So that means for every resident there, right? Every 16 people there, there's one CNA. Now, there's no way possible that a CNA can take care of 16 people or 25 people by themselves. So what I tell my families, this is one of my selling points. Our resident to staff ratio is 4-1. So if we have 5 people,
that's a big difference.
That's a big difference. So it's more homely, it's more intimate, it's more personal. They can get the care that they deserve. It's like sending your kids to a public school as opposed to a private school. It's a difference.
Yes, true.
Right? And so I tell people all the time, it's not that the CNAs in these nursing homes don't care. It's not that they're not passionate about what they do. It's that they're placed in a system that's designed to fail. You can either pay with Medicaid or you can pay with cash money when you're in a nursing home. 9 times out of 10, you're paying with Medicaid. You're dealing with the government, right? So they're not getting paid a whole lot of money as it is, right? And so there you go with that. Now, when it comes to assisted living and memory cares, these big places, they got, 50, 40 people, the resident to staff ratio is a little better. It might be 8-1, right? But they have what's called levels of care. So just think about, I tell my families all the time, think about real estate. Think about an adjustable rate mortgage and a fixed rate mortgage. Which one you gonna want all the time? A fixed rate mortgage, right? Well, when you go to these communities, right, they always gonna be an adjustable rate mortgage for the most part, right? So that means that every month they assess that resident based on their health, and if they're declining or not. If they decline, the price goes up. So you might have been coming in paying $6,500 a month, and now you're paying $9,000. You could afford the $6,500, but you can't afford the $9,000 a month. It's just too much, right? With us, we have a fixed rate mortgage, so to speak, right? And so whatever it is you come in paying with us, it remains the same regardless of whether your health declines or not, right? And the reason why we can do this, I believe that residential care homes, it depends on what that individual wants. Everybody has different needs. Like if you want to be sociable, where, they're taking field trips and have activities, of course you're going to want to go to a bigger community. Right? But if you need more of that personal, intimate, care, where when you call somebody, you're getting a hold of the caregiver or the owner or the general manager, and you're not talking to some robot listening to elevator music while you're waiting on somebody to get on the phone. You need to come to a residential care home. And the reason why we can offer a more personal, intimate touch as opposed to a community, because our resident to staff ratio, right? And we provide a higher quality of care for a more affordable price due to the fact we don't have the overhead that an assisted living or a big memory care has. We don't have to pay a business office manager and the janitor and the we don't have to pay all these different people that they have, right? So that's why we're able to offer a more affordable solution, and when it comes to people who need quality care.
Right. Well, I can tell you're passionate about it, because I know you alluded to the fact that you experienced that too, with that type of high ratio when you needed help, when you were in rehab as well.
And it doesn't mean that the caregivers, that now I understand. At the moment, I was like, man, these people don't care. They can care less. But now I understand. Now I understand the resident to staff ratio. I'm not the only person there. They're spread too thin.
They are spread thin.
This is something that the government is gonna have to change. Because it's the government that pays Medicaid. It's you see what I'm saying? So you know, this is something they're gonna have to change. With assisted living and memory cares, and even with residential care homes, the big difference between us and a nursing home is that we don't accept Medicaid.
Okay.
The reason why we don't accept Medicaid is because a lot of times Medicaid would dispute what they owe. And sometimes that may take 45, 60 days to pay. We ain't got time for that. We got people to pay. We got bills to pay. Hey, the rent due on the first. We ain't got 45, 60 days and you disputing what we ain't got time for. We got a saying in my neighborhood, money on the wood make the gambling good. Right? So we accept two forms of payment. Private pay in my sector means one or two things. You're either paying with cash money, right? Or you're paying with long-term care insurance. Long-term care insurance will pay up to $6,000 for care based on the amenities that particular facility provides. So the more amenities that they provide, the more costs they will cover. So when you go to these big communities, a lot of people are paying $10,000, $12,000. Well, if they got long-term care insurance, you know, and they charging them $10,000, they're only out of pocket $4,000.
Right.
So usually they have to be out of pocket at first, and within 45 days, the insurance back pays them from the time they were admitted.
Okay. Well, you know, and that's a very good point, because I always, you know, advise clients who are younger and can qualify for long-term care insurance. It's always good to have in some aspect of some form, because it can help supplement, you know, along the way. So that's a very good point. So on staff, at all times, who is at the residential care home?
I keep two staff, one staff at night though, when everybody is, one staff at night, But I typically keep two caregivers, and I have a general manager.
Okay.
So my general manager, but one thing I wanna have I got a message to the entrepreneurs out there.
Go right ahead.
You as entrepreneur. Let me give this example. Let's say you walked into a restaurant, right? And the waiter greets you, right? Sits you down. Then they say it's a problem with the restroom. You see him switch uniforms, and he's the plumber. And then he comes back as the waiter, takes your food. He changes uniforms and puts on an apron. Now he's cooking the food, and he's playing all these positions, right, of all these different people, and what's gonna happen, he's gonna wear himself out or herself out, right? So the message that I wanna give to the entrepreneurs out there is that you must learn the art of delegation.
That's so true.
The main reason why a lot of people become entrepreneurs is to free up their time to spend it the way they wanna spend it.
That's true. That is so true.
How you gonna really capitalize on being an entrepreneur, spending your time the way that you see fit if you doing everything?
Yeah, you can't do it all.
So I have a general manager who is responsible for the day-to-day activities. She's ordering the groceries for my houses. She's making sure those mar sheets are right. She's making sure that, hey, we need to get this tagged and inspected by the fire marshal. She keeps up with all of that. Right? The care. She keeps in contact with the hospice and the home health companies. So that frees up my time where maybe I could do some marketing and bring a light and some publicity to what I got going on, so we can acquire some more residents.
Right.
Because without residents, we don't have a business. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of times I see people, they try to do everything. And maybe you have to do that at first. But the whole goal is to level up.
That's true. That's so true.
Level up. I'm on this level. I'm trying to go to the next level.
Next level.
You got to level up, and you got to understand the art of delegation.
That's true.
And a lot of times, you know, especially us, you know, Jay-Z said something very profound. He said, people have to learn how to come together when it comes to business. I'd rather own a fraction of a lot of money than 100% of nothing.
That's true.
You know
that
what I'm saying?
True.
you gotta learn that when you start something, it ain't gonna be just you. You need a team, and it goes back to the employees and the staff hiring people who can fulfill the mission statement and the vision that you have for your company.
That's true.
So on average, I keep about 2 caregivers. Right, during the day. I have a general manager that oversees all of my homes.
Okay.
So that way I don't have to stress and worry about the day-to-day obligations. Yes,
and
ma'am.
Making sure that the care plans are implemented,
Yes,
home health appointments.
Yes, ma'am.
Because your constant appointments with home health care and all that, and doctor's appointments, things like that are going on.
Exactly.
So are you, are the caregivers having interactions with the family?
Of course.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I cannot tell you how many families have told us, I wish I would have knew about y'all ahead of time. So we know everybody's birthday. We have it on our bulletin board.
Wow.
We make sure that, hey, this ain't just no another day. We don't know where you was at before you was here at Go Giver.
Right.
But at Go Giver, your birthday is a special day. It's a special occasion. We gonna turn up, because a lot of people didn't live to see their next birthday.
That's true. That is so true.
We gonna celebrate. We gonna turn up. We gonna put on the birthday hat. We gonna get the birthday cake. We gonna get the balloons. We gonna celebrate you.
Yes, yes.
People wanna be and people wanna go where they're celebrated.
That is so true. That is so
You know what I'm saying? If you talk to a lot of people, man, they can't tell you nothing about them residents.
Yeah.
I read a book by T.D. Jakes, Bishop T.D. Jakes. And he broke down the word intimacy so simple and plain. One thing I learned about truth, the closer you get to the truth, the simpler it is. He says intimacy means into me. See? Yeah. That's the person you want to marry.
Right.
Them the type of people you want to hire.
Right.
Somebody who's into them.
Right.
That's what makes it personal.
Right.
You always have to understand that cooperation stems from connection.
Yeah.
People want to know how much you care before they want to know how much you know.
That's true.
Free game.
Especially with seniors and their families. They're
Especially with the families.
Yeah, they're going through a hard time and really accepting the fact that their loved one may have to, go into a residential care home or assisted living or nursing home. And that's hard for them to do sometimes because they never envisioned that. Just like you said, you never envisioned what was around the corner for you.
My mother, shout out to Miss Francis, Dr. Francis Louise Loftis. She don't like being called that, but she earned that. Yes. She's a retired social worker.
Okay.
She used to work for All Saints. I don't even know if they still around anymore. But I remember she used to have me and my brother go with her in the car. She used to have this mailbox at the office where she used to have to drop her paperwork off in, and she would make us feel like we were protecting her. But truth be told, I mean, at that tender age, she would have got robbed. We would have been screaming and hollering too, right? But that's what mothers do, right?
Yes.
And I finally got her and my Aunt Ann to come and tour one of my homes, right?
Okay.
And you know what she told me?
What did she say?
She told me something that I never forget. She said, baby, I love the location. You over here by TCU. It's a nice area, right?
Right.
I love the decor. I love the ceiling fans that's remote control and chandeliers and the flat screen TVs and your mural and your neon sign and you got the pond in the backyard. I love all that, baby. Don't get it twisted. I love that. But I want to tell you something. Don't get so caught up in the location, the furnishings, the pond in the backyard, the neon, your little waterfalls. Don't miss the aim here.
Yeah.
The aim is not the location. The aim is not the furnishings. The aim is not none of that. The aim is the care.
That's true. Now that is so true.
Man, because I can't tell you how many places I done been in, got marble floors and wall waterfalls and chandeliers. Yeah. And the care is garbage with a J, garbage, trash. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you say, because I always tell my clients, I said, don't get caught up in the beautiful chandelier in the entrance.
Right.
You have to see what the care is going to be. Yeah.
Look, let me tell you something. You can go to a place got all that, and then go to a little small 1,500 square feet home that they gonna cook it home cooked, you know what I mean? You know, meat falling off the bone, greens and the Jiffy cornbread, you know, and they loving on them, and you can see the interaction is different. You know, when I come through the door, I always hug my people.
Aw, yeah.
I hug my people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it just, you don't know how far a hug go. I got some residents, I don't know their family history. It ain't my business. They don't get no visitors.
Right.
They don't got nobody coming to see them.
A lot of
they footing the bill themselves, or the family will foot the bill, but they don't want to mess with them for whatever reason. It ain't none of my business.
Yeah.
But everybody deserves to be loved and cared for. Hey, man, these people we taking care of, they're in their golden years.
They are.
It is our job as healthcare professionals. I don't care if you're home health, hospice, residential care owner, CNA, nurse practitioner, doc. It is our job, duty, and obligation every day we get up and serve these seniors to ensure their golden years are in fact golden years.
That's so
you doing anything outside of that, this is the reason why they make us look bad.
Yeah, yeah. Because
it's only a few.
Yeah. It's a calling. It's not just a job.
It's not.
This
you know what a job is?
What's that?
Robert Kiyosaki, in his book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, he said a job means just over broke. You on the rat race for check to check. You just surviving with your head above the water. That's a job.
That's true.
This is bigger than that.
It is. It is.
It's bigger than that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And when I was driving trucks, I was making money, but I wasn't passionate about getting up and doing the load for the day. I get up enthusiastic about what I'm doing.
Right.
You know?
Right. Exactly.
And I want to tell the entrepreneurs something out there. You know, sometimes you might have to do what you hate to do what you love to do.
That's true.
Can I say that again?
Oh, yes.
As an entrepreneur, sometimes you might have to do what you hate to do in order to do what you love to do. It was times I had to DoorDash to keep this thing alive, baby.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, like 8-9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I get it.
I had to DoorDash.
Yeah.
Because I was just that passionate. Hey, you are not an entrepreneur until you put your own money up.
Yeah.
When you put your own money up, it shows one thing. What does it show? You invested.
That's right. You got to take the game.
This ain't no, well, I didn't like this job, or how she looked at me, or what she brought at the potluck. Nah, this ain't that type of situation where you could just quit this job and go to another job, because you put your $40, $50, $60, $100,000 up. It's different now.
It is
You're going to do whatever it takes to make sure your investment, you get a ROI on your investment.
That is so true.
You invested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until you put your own money up, you're not an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's different.
It is different. It is different. You have stake in the game.
You got stake in the game.
You got to have stake in the game. There's nothing you can walk away from. And then you're committed. It makes a difference when you're committed.
You know the beautiful thing about commitment? Mm-hmm. You either in oh yeah. It ain't no in between. Ain't no straddling in the fence. You either in or you out.
Or you're out. Or you're out.
Ain't no in between. Let me give you an example. I know you're married, right? I'm just using this as an example. Husband, don't kill me. We get married, right? Me and you. Mm-hmm. We at the altar.
Yeah.
And the preacher goes on through the, Nathan, do you take beautiful Miss Wendy here to be your lawfully wedded wife through sickness and in health? Till death do you part? Mm-hmm. And my reply is, I'll try. What you gonna do?
Walk away.
You gonna walk away. Why? Because I'm not committed.
Yeah, yeah.
It's either I do or I don't. Ain't no I try.
There is no try.
You either do or you don't.
Yeah.
Ain't no in between with commitment. You either in or you out. Very valid point. Free game.
That is so true. And this is so important. I know you're a leader in the community in this arena as well. you founded some organizations that you're educating people.
Yes, ma'am.
I can tell you're used to educating and giving good experience.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, not just a lecture, but based on your experience, how to have the perspective you need to have in this industry.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you elaborate on those organizations?
So it is funny. Remember we talked about how things that we deem as bad,
Yes.
but they really are good. We just can't see past the moment.
Right.
So you see how I'm dressed, right?
Yeah.
You see how I'm
That
dressed,
color, yes.
right? Well, when I came into the industry, I didn't know nothing about how to market and stuff like that, right? And so I had to learn as I went.
Okay.
And so I played the healthcare industry like I played church. I came as I was. I'm not the dude that be doing all the fronting and the stunting and the faking and shaking. I don't fake the funk on the nasty dump. What you see is what you get. Yeah, what you see is what you get, right? And so a lot of people had a problem with the way that I dress. Not that I said or did anything inappropriate.
Right.
It's not professional. Oh my God, I never, you know? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to hell with, my heart and my intentions and, bump all that. Look at the way he dressed, right?
Yeah.
But last time I checked, red bottoms wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, Versace, and that wasn't cheap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of times, man, when people hating on you, they not hating on you.
Right.
It's really a perverted form of admiration.
Right.
They really like you and admire what you do, but it's kind of like when you playing a elementary duck goose and they push you down too hard. They really like you though. He really like you.
Yeah.
He throwing spit wars at you and teasing you and talking about your braces, and then you see him as a young adult and he tells you, Wendy, I always had a thing for you, and you hit him with the Scooby-Doo like, you? All the stuff you? Yeah, I just didn't know how to tell you. It's the same thing as adults.
Yeah.
They really like you, but they don't know how to tell you, so it comes out in the perverted form of what we call hate. It's a perverted form of admiration. That's why they say if ain't nobody hating on you, you ain't doing nothing. So when I came into the industry, I had that issue, right? Took me 7 months to acquire my first resident because of that. Wasn't nobody rocking with me, right? And once I found my groove and I found out what was going on, it was a wrap. Now I'm actually consulting people how to do this, right? But I came in, man, a lot of people on certain health groups was declining my post, wasn't accepting my post. So you know what? I say, okay, cool. I ain't gonna cry about it. A hustler, I know that word has a negative connotation to it, right? But a hustler is not somebody who sell dope. If you sell dope, then that means that you making money from selling dope, right? A hustler is more than that. Because if I'm able to take the dope away from you and you're not able to acquire the means that you were when you were selling dope, that means you're a dope boy or a dope girl. You're not a hustler. Right. You're not a go-getter, right? A hustler is someone who creates options for currency. The key word is create. You create with your mind. Right? So they say a genius is somebody who sees the same thing everybody else sees, but he or she just looks a little bit deeper and they able to make it to their benefit where it's profitable. Fire. I'm giving you free game. I'll be charging you for this. So now I went from people not accepting my posts to now those same people is posting on my platform, but I'm professional. I know you don't like me, but what you advertising and promoting might help somebody else. I'm not gonna get in the way of that. Right. We have over 5,000 members today.
Wow.
Started over 3 years ago. We have over 5,000 members on Meet the Plug. I ain't got no bots and all this old crazy stuff to get. Everything is organic.
Wow.
I have another group.
What's the reach of that? 5,000. Is that just in Texas or
just in Dallas, Fort Worth?
Wow.
Just in Dallas, Fort Worth.
That's amazing.
Right? It's called Meet the Plug, healthcare in North Texas. I have another group on the app called Group Me that's called We Are One.
Okay.
And so this group, I was like, man, we got all these healthcare groups, right? But we don't have nothing addressing directly to group home owners and residential care home and residential assisted living owners, right? And so I created that group.
Okay.
We are one. We meet up every other month, the last Friday of the month at Reunion Rehabilitation Hospital of Arlington. Shout out to Ty Taplin. Shout out to my girl Daphne over there, because they opened the doors in order for us to do that from 10 a.m. to noon. The next time we meet up will be September 26th from 10 a.m. to noon at Reunion Rehabilitation Hospital of Arlington. We have the biggest turnout of any healthcare meetup in the Metroplex.
Wow.
We have about 60 people, give or take, every time.
Wow.
At least 60 people.
That's huge. That's huge.
That's huge.
Well, I can tell you have an impact on people.
So you know, and you know, sometimes I'm gonna tell you how the creator works. I know I got a gift of gab, so to speak. I know I could talk. I know that I can deliver a message and convey something in a way that might resonate with you, but the other person, they might not can make it resonate with you like I can, right? And so the creator kind of created a situation and circumstance to where I wasn't using my gift, right? My name, Nathan, is a biblical name. Nathan was a prophet.
Yeah.
When you do the etymology on the word Nathan, it'll take you back to the Hebrew. And in the Hebrew language, Nathan literally means a gift from God. So up until that point, I didn't like my name. I learned it through a lexicon. It was a dictionary, and it had names and the language it come from and the definition. And when I find out the definition of my name, oh, I'm a gift from God. Oh, yeah.
That changes your perspective.
Yeah, that means that my presence, if I'm living up to my name, the definition of my name, anybody that I meet or come across, I'm supposed to, my presence, not my presence, what I buy for people, what I purchase. No, me, myself as an individual, my presence is supposed to be a gift to anybody that I meet or come across. If I'm living up to the definition of my name, if I'm of those caliber of people.
Right.
And so once I learned that, I was like, man, that's big. I started liking my name. You know what I mean? And so I try to be a gift to anybody that I meet or I come across, you know, whether it be in healthcare or even outside of healthcare.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I can tell that, you know, because when we met, you were helping.
Right.
You were in that helping mode.
Right.
And I know your homes are such a blessing to everyone that comes in contact with you and your staff.
Go giver.
Yeah, go giver. You're giving.
Let me show you something about a go giver. This is very, very essential. You can be a go getter and not be a go giver.
That's true. That's true.
Hold on, flip it though. But you can't be a go giver and not be a go-getter. Let me say that one more time. I ain't talking fast, you just listening slow. Let me bring it back like DJ Screw. You can be a go-getter, but not be a go-giver. But you can't be a go-giver without first becoming a go-getter. Why is that? You can be out there somebody that makes something happen. You know what I mean? You ain't crying when you gonna make something happen from nothing, from scratch, right? And not have that giving heart to be a blessing to other people.
That's true.
But it's impossible to be a blessing to other people because you can't give what you don't have.
That's true. That is so true.
I can't give you $100 if I don't have $100.
Right.
I can't give you knowledge, wisdom, and understanding if I don't have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I can't give you a heart if I don't have a heart. So the foundation of being a go-giver is you got to know how to get it yourself first, baby.
Yeah. That's so true.
And then you put yourself in a position to be a blessing to other people and it don't hurt you.
Yeah. It's a developmental process.
It's a developmental process.
Yeah.
As they say, it's levels to this.
Right. That's so true.
You don't want to just stay at the go-getter level, though.
Right.
You want to elevate and become a go-giver.
Right.
You know, and you don't have to be a residential care home owner group. You don't got to have nothing to do with healthcare to be a go-giver. You could be a go-giver in your home. You could be a go-giver in your community, in your church. Anybody that you come across, homeless people, you could be a it don't cost you no money.
It sure doesn't.
It's free.
It sure doesn't.
A wise man once said, if you smile at somebody, that's charity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the greatest forms of charity I found out that you can give to somebody, it's not money. One of the greatest forms, I'm gonna tell you too.
Okay.
One of the greatest forms of charity is just being a listening ear to somebody who's going through something adverse.
Right.
They don't want your advice. They don't want your opinion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't want your little 2 cents on your perspective on the situation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They just want you to be attentive
And listen.
The words listen and silent have the same letters because in order to listen, you got to first be what? Silent. That's why the old folks say you got 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen more than you talk.
That's true. That's
you know,
so true.
The other form of charity that is one of the greatest forms of charity is not giving somebody some money or spoon feeding somebody, giving them some bird crumbs. One of the other greatest forms of charity that you could do for somebody else is put them in a position where they can provide for themselves and their family themselves.
That is true.
So I have employees.
Yeah.
They depend on me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, they depend on me. That's big. You know, even when I think about my children, they depend on me.
Right.
They depending on me. They're not in a position to provide for themselves.
Right. Right.
When I think about that, our lives depending on me.
Right.
That's big. That's big. One guy said, man, you know, when you have people depending on you, man, it's big, but don't fret. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That means people trust you enough, you know what I'm saying, to put that in your hand. They trust you enough where you're going to come through.
That's right.
The rapper Rick Ross said something that I never forget. He said, a G is one who stands on his own feet. A boss is one who guarantees we gonna eat. You see what I'm saying? So I got people depending on me. I can't let my people down.
Well, you're given an opportunity, and that's
right.
what Go-Giver does.
That's
what
right.
Go-Giver does.
And that's all a man wants. A man don't want to be spoon-fed or given bird crumbs.
Right.
A man don't want you to give him no money. That don't make him feel like no man.
Right.
A man want, a hustler, all a go-getter want is an opportunity.
Yes. Yes.
And so what I'm trying to do is create opportunities for people to feed themselves as well as their family.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I tell you what, if someone wants to get in contact with Go-Giver, and thank you for giving and coming on my podcast to give, because this is going to help so many people and their families, understanding residential care, you know, understanding the energy that's behind Go-Giver residential care. If they wanted to get in contact with you and use your services and become a part of one of your residential homes, how would they do that?
So unlike a lot of people, I don't have 2 and 3 phones.
Yeah.
It's too much for me, all the charges. Hey, my personal phone is my business phone because my business is personal.
Yes.
So I could be reached at 682-410-3800. Again, that's 682-410-3800. Our website is gogiveragency.com. I'll give you my personal email. It's my name, Nathan, Nathan, Loftis, Loftis, 81@gmail.com.
Awesome. Awesome. So well, you've heard how to get in contact with Nathan. And I'll encourage you to go right ahead and do that and just explore, you know, those possibilities for your loved one. And Nathan, thanks again for coming on the show.
And I want to leave with a quote.
Yes, please.
I had an outfit and I was trying to match some socks with my outfit and my slides. It's Dolce & Gabbana.
Okay.
And it was the perfect colors, but I love the slogan on the socks. It says this. It says, be a flamingo in a flock full of pigeons. Be a flamingo
yes.
in a flock full of pigeons. One thing about being in business and starting a business, part of marketing is branding. What sets you apart from everybody else that do the same exact thing that you do?
Exactly.
Be a flamingo in a flock full of pigeons.
I love that. I love that. Well, that's something you can take and start using and meditate on that one for sure.
Already.
Yeah, that's a great quote. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Creative Caregiving and Beyond. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We've got many more great episodes like we've had today with Nathan. This has been a real treat. So we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.